welcome to Phoenix Refueled, fanning the flames of our awakening. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Ashley, and we are here to talk about deep shit.
What are we talking about today, Ash?
Spiritual bypassing.
Woo!
Is a hot topic for me, just in general right now. It's something I'm really, really passionate about.
I hear it coming up a lot. Like, I feel people are using that term more often.
What do you feel like people are saying when they're talking about spiritual bypassing, or what have you heard them talk about?
I don't know if most people know what that is, but you know, if you hang out in spiritually type communities, people are starting to catch on to the awareness. Basically, as we've gone into the era, I feel like we're pushing through the era, but you know, there was for a long time, the good vibes only kind of a thing, which is a very spiritual. People are catching on that that's bypassing. It's phony. That's spiritualism.
The love and light, love and light, love and light.
Only good vibes. Only good vibes.
Only the good. Yep. Yeah. I'm like, but that's not the human experience.
Yeah, good for you if that's your life, that it's only good
but
vibes.
Whose
but
life
nobody's
is
life
that?
is like
no one actually has that life though.
No,
and if they
no.
say that that's their life, they're not being authentic or real with you, and a lot of times even with themselves, which is to me scarier. I'm like, if you don't know that you have deep dark shit in there and like at least somewhat aware of it, I'm like, that means that you're blissfully unaware, which means that's gonna pop out and bite someone
for sure,
like when you least expect it, and it's gonna take you down and everyone else around you down.
Yeah, because you're not even aware that it's there.
Right.
It's not like you have the light and the dark, like you have your conjoined twin situation and you introduce yourself as this is my conjoined twin. You have like a weekend at Bernie's attached to your back and you don't know. It's
Weekend
scary. You're dragging around the shadow.
Dead weight
it's
back
like,
behind you.
You got something on your back there. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's been such a big push in the spiritual community and people are, for whatever reason, you know, disillusioned with the church. You have more the rise of spirituality, the rise of like alternative paths to enlightenment, right? Which everybody has their own path. Like you've done a lot with Buddhism, and I feel like I honestly align with that as well. But a lot of people are leaving very restrictive religious upbringings and institutions, but they're looking for that peace still to fill the void, right? And so it scares me. It scares me when people aren't aware of like in everything there is darkness, though. So you have to be aware of what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, you can't outrun yourself.
Right.
Which is, you get into problems. I think that's why a lot of people have left the church of their parents or the religions that they were raised in, because you kind of start to see some of the hypocrisy and the cracks. And, you know, a lot of people have been harmed by major religions that they've grown up in, so they try to get away from that. But you can't outrun yourself. It can be the same stuff in Buddhism. It can be the same stuff in any religion. You have to deal with the dark side. And in any religion, there are going to be people that say one thing but then do another. Hypocrisy. That's the spiritual bypassing. Like we're oh, God bless, love you, but then you don't really know yourself. You don't look at yourself. You don't walk the walk. It is dangerous. Yeah, it is dangerous.
So who do you, when you're looking for, because you've had several mentors, you talk about them often actually, you and I, what are you looking for in a mentor?
Honestly, one of the biggest green flags that I think of inevitably when I think of any of my teachers is the willingness to make mistakes.
Ooh.
The willingness and lightness that they have about saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing. They just kind of stop and go, oh, well, you know, and explain, or that's okay. You know, they just kind of roll with it because they are okay with themselves. They are okay with the fact that they mess up. They're okay with the fact that they're human and humans make mistakes. And that's a big green flag for me, because if you are okay with yourself making mistakes, you're going to be okay with others making mistakes. That high bar of perfectionism that so many of us have is really a double-edged sword. You know, you have this judgment for yourself, and it does make you more judgmental with others.
1000%.
So that would be a big green flag. It's just the willingness to just be human.
Yep.
And mess up and not take it. They don't take themselves so seriously that they can't make a mistake.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's a lot of. I think that's a big. That goes really hand in hand with the topic of spiritual bypassing, because a lot of that, I mean, the thing that you're bypassing is the ugly parts of yourself, the parts that you're ashamed of, embarrassed of, you don't like, the imperfections, whatever your brand of I don't like that part of myself is. I mean, that's what you're bypassing. Is like, I'm so spiritual, I'm above human mistake. No, none of us are.
No.
No.
It's not a possibility.
Yeah. There's no amount of spirituality that takes you out of your physical human incarnation.
Our last women's circle that we had at the salon, Sue was, we were talking about resistance, which is a total, we can do such a thing on that, but we were talking about resistance, and when Sue and I were sharing one-on-one, we were talking about like currently what we were both like resisting in life, and so we were doing like a pair share situation, and Sue is someone that I'm not allowed to call her my guru. I did that once, and she was like, "Oh, absolutely not. That is a tall pedestal to fall from. Like, I am someone that is just a little bit further along the path."
She's
right?
a wise woman.
She's a very wise
Yes.
woman. She's been doing this work for so long. She'll be 70 in November, which she's such a vivacious woman. If you ever get a chance to meet Sue, she is just kiss phenomenal. She was very raw and very honest and open with me about her current struggle with her husband. She's in this moment in her life where she's getting all of these blessings, things that she's wished for, she's prayed for, she's manifested, all of the things, and it's like they're finally coming to fruition for her. And in the midst of that, her husband is in a steep decline with his Parkinson's. And so like her openness and rawness with me, of every once in a while I catch myself in this moment of feeling like throwing a tantrum and feeling sorry for myself. Like I'm finally at this place where these things that I've always wanted are happening, and I'm able to like fulfill these lifelong dreams, and I have this weight. I'm not able to travel as freely or move about as freely. I have to now make 2 plane tickets because he has to go with me, or like, you know, those kinds of things. And I told her, I was like, you know, what a blessing it is to hear you so rawly and openly talk about your humanity as someone that I look up to. You're like, and she's laughed. She's like, thank you for that. And I was like, no, but like it's inspiring. You guys are okay. Sorry, we have
cat fight. Off camera cat fighting.
We are okay. Everybody's good. Everybody's welcome. Oliver, you can stay, baby. Everybody relax. It's all good. Okay. Sorry guys about that. It's inspiring to watch someone who I look up to and who's about to be 70, have the awareness of herself, the awareness of her shadows and her dark side, to be able to hold space within herself for that, be like, okay, I see that, to challenge it, and then to be like, okay, but like, here are my commitments, and here's the person that this is the person I said I'm going to be, this is the person that I am. And so even though I'm having these feelings, these are the actions that I'm going to take, because this is the person that I am. And so I'm going to take care of him, and I'm going to follow through on my commitment with him, whatever that looks like, even though I'm feeling petulant and childlike about this moment. And like, that's someone that I'm like, I will, if you tell me to jump off a cliff, I probably would, Sue. Because it's just, it's beautiful. It's like, you're constantly growing, right? And you can never outrun your shadows. They're going to pop up.
We're always going to be human.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there is some danger in the spiritual community for that reason, because when we're in spiritual bypass, when we're trying to negate all those ugly parts of ourselves, you do get into that mode where, you know, you're not sharing all these things about yourself because you don't want to look at them, but you know they're there. You know you're imperfect. You may feel like an imposter. You may feel like whatever. But when we do that, we do kind of tend to put people in hierarchies and pedestalize. Is that a word? Pedestalize? We're making it a word
We're
today.
going to make it a word today.
You put people up there. You know, you see people that are just, you know, like she said, just further down the path. They're walking the same path. But you think, oh, this person, you know, they have it figured out. They know, you know, and then you can get into trouble because there's sometimes people that don't have good intentions in the spiritual community, and that's how you get taken advantage
I'm sure they're going to take advantage of
Yes.
you. And
It's like, oh, this person is beyond reproach. No, we are all human. But it's just like she said, you know, I still feel these ways. No matter how long you practice, you're still going to be you.
the shift, I think, is in the awareness of them, and that they're not taking the lead.
Right.
Right. I think that's the shift, and it is dangerous because there are people that are like, oh, I have it figured out. I have reached this level of enlightenment, and it's like, okay, but like you're still a human being.
Yeah.
And so, no, it makes me very nervous when people are like, I'm just blindly following this person, and I'm like, you're blindly following someone who is inherently flawed because they're human. So don't do that. It's very, very wrong. That's where you get taken advantage of.
Definitely. And then you see a lot of that in any religion, in any spiritual community. And there are people who really, I think there are really people who believe, like, no, I have made it to enlightenment. I have made it, I have figured it out, I have blasted my ego from its existence. And there's always going to be people that will follow that, and it is really dangerous. There's a different teacher of the Tibetan tradition, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, a little bit of a controversial figure in himself, but he was a monk and a teacher who talked about, I think he coined the term spiritual materialism, which is similar to spiritual bypassing, but one of the symptoms of spiritual materialism is basically thinking that, you know, you've made it to enlightenment, I'm done, you know, I'm done with the work. Or, you know, spiritual materialism, like you know, if I buy the right yoga mat, if I wear the right beads, if I get the right flowy pants, you know, I light the candles, it's all zen, baby. No, it's just another form of spiritual bypassing. There's really no way of getting around the work of looking at yourself and spending a lot of time with yourself. So, like you said, so that those things are there, but it's not
Running
leading
the show.
you.
Correct.
Yes.
Within, I've been doing some pretty intensive therapy since January, and we dove pretty headfirst into EMDR, which is eye movement, rapid. It's a buzzword right now. Everybody's talking about it. My therapist told me recently that not everybody loves that, which I was shocked that not everybody likes EMDR, because I was like, it changed my life.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when there's so much of me that I'm like, I would say I'm self-aware, that so self-aware that it's almost self-harm. It's like, I know too much. Like I can, and that's what our first session was, I can tell you everything that's wrong with me, and I'm right about it. But it's still, my body still will react in certain ways when I'm met with situations that are similar or that trigger that response, and I become 8, 13, 21, and like
Mm-hmm.
adult Ashley is not leading the charge. Like it is like it's an out of body experience. It's fight or flight, whether it's shut
Crazy how
down
that
or
happens.
rage or whatever. It's
Mhm.
like I am not driving the car
Yeah.
at all. And then I feel guilt and shame, and afterwards, or for whatever reaction. So anyway, we worked through. It was phenomenal for me. If you have any sort of complex trauma or trauma at all, truly look into EMDR and find you a good therapist, because it's miracle working. Um, but because of the work that we've done, there are moments where I can feel like, I don't know, I wouldn't, maybe it's like alter ego-y kind of, but I can feel parts of myself come up
Mm.
that were shadow parts, that were protector parts,
Mhm.
right? And for a time, they did their job and they did it well, and they protected me when no one else was, right? Until they became harmful,
Yeah.
for myself and for others around me.
Yeah.
And so being aware of them now, I have, if you've read A Court of Thorns and Roses, I have my inner Nesta, and I love her dearly. But I can feel her kind of come up, and I've named her, and I'm like, she's a character.
Isn't that
I
wild?
like have a visual of her. She's a character in my head now, and I'm all like, girl, you're so fun. I'm like, it's not that serious, and I'm gonna need you to you're allowed to be here, but you're gonna take a deep breath, and you're gonna stand in the corner, and like, thank you for protecting me, but I got it. Adult Ashley's gonna remain in charge right now. We're not like burning the world down and like avenging your entire bloodline because of this, whatever you feel like is offensive right now. It wasn't personal. Calm down, babe. But it's like that part is the power in that.
Yeah.
It's like the shadow doesn't go away. She still comes up when I'm feeling super triggered, and I'm all like, but I can recognize her, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
it's okay, baby. Like, I love you. Thank you. You did such a good job. But like, I don't need you. But you can stand here with me. But like, I'm gonna be the one talking right now.
Love that.
It's huge. It's a game changer, and I can laugh at it now.
Yeah, I think that's part of where the lightness comes from, because you know that you are in control. And it is weird to see all these different parts of yourself come up in your mind and have just witness it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can hear the maternal part of you, the angry child part of you, the this part of you, talking to each other, and just go, guys, I got it. It is wild. Humans are so strange.
It's so strange
that we can have so many complex personalities really fully evolved in us.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have the awareness to see it playing out inside your head, it is kind of surreal.
It's a good time, actually.
Yeah, it is a good time, but it does feel very free. You're right. I do think it feels, the more you develop that sacred pause, where your inner Nesta comes up, and you can go, oh, wait, give it a little space. I'm not gonna react from that point of view. I'm gonna do it from this space over here. It does feel very free.
There are moments that I've now named like another part of me that comes up, and it's my dad. So I call it Charles David. It's like, oh, Charles David's here. Like,
I love that.
He's here, and it's like there are moments that I'm like, yeah, Charles is gonna take over right now, because like actually he's right. And I kind of love it, because I'm like, it's very no, this is what it is, and this is what's gonna happen. And it's very like black and white, clear cut, period. And so you want to talk about boundaries, like that's my boundaries of like, no, this is what's happening. And you can get happy or be mad, like whatever your emotion you're feeling's fine, but this is what's happening. And I'm like, that's a powerful place, that's a powerful part to have as well. I'm like, that's not yeah, his dad's here, and he's gonna take the reins on it. It's kind of nice sometimes.
That is nice. I mean, we do get good things from our parents, as well as some of the negative scripts, so it is, I think that's pretty cool to be able to incorporate, like, I know where this script came from, but you know what, Dad, Yeah, that's a lesson I will keep because you're right.
You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend of mine that you know, won't name names. She committed to this coaching program with someone and was doing, I don't know, $3,000, $6,000, I don't remember what. And it was very much it's like a Ponzi scheme or whatever they call that. But it's like you do this, and then now you need to do this thing, and then like, okay, yeah, you did that, but then
like
now
a
you do
pyramid
this.
situation. When she was invested in it.
I mean, it's like we got, it was like a, hey, I can't afford this. Well, like you need to release that, and the money will come. You need to release that, the money will come. Lo and behold, like this person, there were some things that happened, and it's like they were like the epitome of spiritual bypassing. It's like they were taking advantage of people for money, truly delusional to the fact that they think that they're helping people, but as things progressed, it's like you are actually like not someone that should be leading people.
You're gonna harm people.
You're actually doing harm. And it's scary because I think we're all humans are looking for some sort of mentorship, right? Because of suffering, because of our humanity, because we want to do things different than our parents. A lot of us, maybe like you said, take some of the good, but then also improve upon and like fix and repair and do different the things that were harmful. And so that puts us in a position to look outside of ourselves into different communities, right? And so I think it's just really important to be careful that you are the person that you're following and listening to is aware of themselves.
100%. And that you are too, because so many of us, and I'm a victim of doing this, you learn a new technique or tool or path to follow, and then you become the proselytizer, and you're like, oh, you guys got to do this. I know, like, you're telling everybody, you're like a Jehovah's Witness for it, knocking on doors, guys, listen to this, listen to what I know. I've done this, and saying that now, like, take everything I say for what it is. Free advice is worth the price, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, throw it out the window. So yeah, you do have to be careful with that. That's why the spiritual bypassing is dangerous, because you really can do a lot of harm if you're not. Once you start learning, you get to a point where you realize the more you know, the less I know. There's so much to know, which is why you have to take it lightly, which is why you have to be comfortable with yourself and all the ugly aspects of yourself, because you really can lead people down the wrong path. And not even saying it's for malicious intent, but sometimes even with pure enthusiasm, you can lead people down the wrong path, and then only a year later go, oh, actually that probably was, maybe don't do that. Sorry. Yeah. It's easy to do. You can get caught up in an idea, and I do think there are a lot of teachers on the path that really do have good intention and do think they're doing the right thing. But that's why one of my green flags is being okay to make mistakes, because you really do have to spend a lot of time knowing yourself and knowing how flawed you are and knowing how little you know. And then there's also the difference of whatever teaching and tools themselves and the person who's just using these teachings and tools. We respect our teachers because they're teaching us, but they're just further on the path than we are.
Right.
They don't have it. Nobody has it all figured out. They're just further down the path. We're on the same path.
That we were talking about earlier in the car, like, brings me to that, because we were talking about like foundational. I tell my daughter, I tell everyone around me that my goal is to peak like immediately before my last breath. Like that's when I hope the peak of my life is. Like I'm ever evolving. If you knew me a year ago, you no longer know me.
Yeah.
You've actually said that about me as well. That like one thing I know.
I love that about you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But there's a certain level of awareness that you have to have. Like there's a baseline that you have to be safe for other people.
That right, that is an important point. It's the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that's key.
It is.
Right? It's like, hey, I know, I'm sure that things will be revealed, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I continue to grow, that there are flaws that I'm probably not seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm fairly self-aware for the most part. I mean, I'm self-aware. And I'm using my tools to work on myself. But that base level of safety, I think that's what's important. And I'm quick to say, like, hey, here's what, and I own my shadow. With like, no, I have an inner Nesta, and she's ruthless. And if she feels crossed in any way, she's ready to, like, kill your entire bloodline. Like I know that about her, but I have her on a leash now. Yeah. Like she's not allowed to run the show anymore. Yeah. I know when she comes up. Yes. And I check her.
That's like, hey, the awareness.
We're okay. My dentist and I, oddly enough, last week, were actually talking. She had so many questions for me, and she was talking about some of the things that she was struggling with as she's injecting, numbing stuff into my gums, which is super fun. But one of the things we were talking about is, and I'm guilty of this, and I used to do this, and it created a lot of resistance within myself and a lot of dislike within myself. But like being aware of those shadow parts, but then trying to push them away. Yep. And like, oh, that's bad. That's an ugly part of me. Oh, I shouldn't be like that. Like that's not following the Bible, or that's not following the, whatever you're, that's not, no, those are wrong parts. Those are bad holy parts. That's not holy. That's bad. That's ugly. And I'm like, okay, but like, what if you stop fighting with that piece of you and say, hey, like, I see you, and like, come here, and like, let me hug you for a minute. Like, what are you trying to tell me right now? I'm like, okay, it's okay. Like, thank you. And now the adult's going to be the one in charge, though. Like, that's where, like, the further you push those parts away, it's like trying to keep a beach ball underwater. It's going to pop up. So if you'll just hold on to it and love it, you can be the one in charge of it.
Yeah. And that's why people who do that feel safe. Because there's not this internal conflict. There's no war going on. It's these parts are there, these parts are also there, these parts are also there, and there's a peace. And you feel safe with those people because they are safe. Because whatever emotion is coming up with them, whatever parts of their personality is coming up with them, they have the space for it. They can make room for it. And then they can make room for you and your human flaws and foibles too. That is absolutely why it feels safe. There's no hiding. There's no inner war going on. It's everybody's welcome, and it's okay. Absolutely. And I think a big part of spiritual bypassing, it really is fear. I mean, it's sort of cowardice because it's not wanting to confront those parts of ourselves. It's exactly that. It's like, this is embarrassing. I got to pretend that part of me is not like that. Or, what will people think of this? So I have to hide that part. I have to pretend I'm bigger. I have to puff up my chest. I have to seem more holy. I have to seem more this and this and this and this. But it's really boils down to just being afraid of looking at all of it and opening your arms to all of it and letting it all exist.
It's really hard when you've been taught to push it away for so long. initial steps are really difficult to like
Totally.
give yourself grace and compassion.
Totally.
You know, like we've talked about numerous times, if you can't do that for yourself, you can't, in no way can you do that for anyone else.
You can't.
Because you can't do it here first.
Yep.
It starts, you've talked about this with me
Mm-hmm.
several times, and it starts here.
Mm-hmm. You have to get the peace and the stability here before anywhere else, because it will feel unsafe. It will be unsafe. Yes, you can get thrown off balance really easily. You know, if you don't have control of that part of yourself, you know, like you have the part of yourself that's vengeful or gets angry easily or feels sort of victim-y, for example. I mean, we've all been we've all done this. If you don't have the awareness of that part of yourself, and somebody does something that triggers that part of you, and you don't have the awareness and you don't have the control of it, you react. And you react in a way, probably because you're not conscious of it, that creates more suffering, creates more harm, creates friction with the other person. It isn't safe. I mean, maybe nothing terrible happens because of it, but you definitely get interpersonal conflict.
Well, it changes the dynamic of the relationship, right? Even with, I mean, you and I both have teenagers.
Yes.
So that's really fun. If you're not aware of your triggers, you'll meet them.
Oh my God. Yes.
But there are moments where a lot of things I laugh off with her. I'm like, this is teenager. Like I'm like, we're fine. Like, here's the line, so we're not gonna cross that. But like, also, like, I can give you grace because your whole body is like, your brain's rearranging itself right now. Like, it's okay. Here are the bumpers. Like, we're not gonna go here. The boundaries, right? But like, also, we can laugh off a lot.
Yeah. They got a lot going on.
They got a lot going on.
They do.
Plus academics and extracurriculars, all the things.
Yes.
But every once in a while, and she now knows when she does it, she'll trigger a part of me because I'll just go, and then it's like this, like I'm like humming to myself, and then it's like I'll turn the music up, and I know it happens in the car a lot, but I'll turn the music up in the car, and then I'm just like quiet, and then when I've processed what's happening and I've calmed that trigger that she hit down, and I'm all like, we're gonna rein it in, like what's it telling me? And then I turn the music down and I'm like, okay, so listen. Like, here's where we're at. But it's, if I'm reactive to the child, because she's still a child in that moment, then we're both children acting out of like that's where we get like the emotional unintelligent parenting, right? Yes. It's like no one's really driving the car at that point, or the train, whatever. We're both like runaway cars, right? And then it's explosive, and it's like dynamic, and it's conflict, and it's like, and then she feels unsafe, right? And so, and then I feel unsafe, and it's just not a.
And then that shame spiral also restarts.
Oof.
Oh, especially as a mom. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, why did?
I'm such a bad mom. I've ruined my child.
All the tracks. All the tracks. Yep.
So like you had talked about earlier, that pause.
That pause.
Is dinner's done, by the way.
Beep beep beep.
That
Wait,
pause is so important.
Should we
stop?
Clap.
Yes. Yep.
Sorry.
Clap.
Done. I mean to cut you off.
No.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. I'm just gonna take it out of the oven.
Shh. You scared them both.
Sorry.
They were kind of cuddling a little bit.
Little babies.
After a little hiss in a moment. You sweet babies. Sweet babies.
Okay. Oh.
Oliver says, I'll come help you. I said, Oliver says, I'll come help you. You're super cute, super cute.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have your thought?
And back to it. So you were talking about that, like, pause, right? And And that's so sacred, right? Like that's the moment. I love science, so like I'm a spiritual girl, but I'm also a science girl. Do you know that it takes 90 seconds for a feeling to pass through your system, so long as you don't attach a thought to it?
That's it.
90 seconds.
Wow.
If you can pause for 90 seconds and not latch on
Yes,
to what
don't
you're
get
feeling,
caught up in the story.
don't get caught up in the story. Don't repeat whatever story you're feeling like, oh, this, I'm a horrible person, I'm whatever it is, like, right? They're attacking me. If you cannot attach to it, 90 seconds. And then you're back to homeostasis.
Yeah.
So that pause is huge. In that pause, there is, I hesitant to say the word control, but there's definitely empowerment.
Yeah.
There, because you're coming from a rational, steady, grounded, calm place.
Yeah.
And not from a reactivity or a reactive place.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of freedom in that moment because you don't have to act in the same way you always would have acted. You can take that space, and there's so much grace in that. Like, I feel like that's why we do the work that we do. It's for the people that we love and we care about. It's for ourselves, so we have our own freedom, but it's also for all the people around us. Like, think about how much grace you give her in those moments where you can just like turn the music, take a beat, pause, rather than just launch into a screaming match or whatever the reaction could have been. That's giving so much grace for her to make mistakes, to not have those tracks in her mind growing up. And we can do that with everybody around us. That it really is so much safety and so much grace to just have that moment to say, like, okay, this is how I'm feeling, now let me choose how I'm going to handle this. But it does take a lot of awareness. You do have to spend time
cultivating that and being aware of it.
Understanding the default mode network.
Oh, that's huge. Say that again.
Where do I go? How was I raised? What is the loop that I immediately sink into, that default mode network? In my family, sometimes it was straight to yelling. So are we going to go there, or are we going to pause and decide where we want to go? My mom was really good about that. She would get really angry, and she would just say, you need to leave the room. And that was the sign, like, oh, we took it too far. She needed the physical moment. Like, give me time and space away from you so I can collect myself.
I've quite literally done that with her. I'm like, I love you, and we're going to be okay, but I need you to go away from me now.
You just have to get out of my bubble. But that's great, because if whatever it takes to snap you out of that automatic loop, but that's where the awareness and the time studying your own behaviors, your conditioning, because everything in life is causes and conditioning. Studying that, knowing who you are, how you show up in these situations is so important for you to be able to have that sacred pause instead of just launching into it, because it's really easy to just react.
When she was 3, so we're talking 11 years ago, so for my first moments where I realized some of the default, because it shocked me, because it was a default that I remember not liking as a kid, and I was like, why is that my default? And I was like horrified that was what I was doing, because I was like, I hated that, but here we are. I was like, oh no, I have become the thing that I hate the most. Worst mother ever. But I read Parenting with Love and Logic, and if you've ever sat in my chair and had your hair done, I will preach the hills. Read Parenting with Love and Logic. Phenomenal, completely shifted the way that I parented her. But it was, Sunday you can put your shoes on to go to the park just fine, all on your own, but Monday morning, and we have to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And like, I still have to brush my teeth and put my pants on, and you're like, la 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 la, and you can't put your shoes on. And I'm like, I put your shoes on. Put your shoes on now because I told you to put your shoes on because we have to leave the house. And I'm like, I was my dad in that moment, and I was like, oh no, very authoritarian parenting, and I hated the because I said so.
Yeah, I was
As a
just
kid,
thinking of the because I said
it
so.
was
That
exactly-
was a big peeve of mine too.
I was like, why?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't follow arbitrary rules,
I was
Dad.
like, I'm gonna need the explanation, 5-point thesis of why. Look, there's moments for that for sure, but I was like, that was my default. And then she would be upset because she could feel my frustration, and then I'm like, now it's full-blown meltdown
Yeah.
over the shoes, so now we're late.
Yep.
And I was trying to us not late. Now we're even later than if I had just helped her with the shoes.
And everybody's upset.
Oh, everybody's crying, and then I'm shame spiraling. I'm a horrible mother, you know, and I'm sure she's gonna have a bad day when I'm dropping her off at Miss Kelly's. A whole thing. So parenting with love and logic,
Yeah.
and like giving them choices. But that was the first moment for me. It was like, why is my automatic
Yep.
the thing that I hated the most? But like having the awareness of to then make it to gather the information, to seek out some resources to what are the other avenues I can take to problem solve this situation where I'm not reverting to the automatic,
Yeah.
because I want a different outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like every time we sit down to talk, it always boils back down to make space for yourself. Get to know yourself, be aware of yourself, and start to like love yourself. I feel like it always just boils down to that, because really before you do anything, you just have to learn to be okay with yourself. That's so much of the work, and it seems so simple, but
that is the work though.
But that's it, and it's not that simple, because exactly what you said, you're like, where is this coming from? Why is the because I said so? You don't realize the water that you're swimming in until you realize. You just don't know until you know, and there's no, you just have to spend a lot of time getting comfy and cozy with those dark, ugly parts of yourself before you know.
I feel like a lot of those shadows, those dark parts, come up though through relationships.
Oh yeah.
So like, there's a piece of that that's in there as well.
Yeah.
Like that's where, that's, at least for me personally, there's a lot that I've learned about myself through relationship.
I think that's the only way I ever learn anything is through your family of origin, through partnerships romantically, friendship-wise, through your children, through coworkers, I mean, people are constantly reflecting back to us parts of ourselves, and that's a lot of times the only way that you see it. I mean, I could sit by myself, happy and content. Everybody's doing exactly what I want them to do because it's just me, baby. It's when you go out into the world and people are not doing what you want them to do that it all comes up.
That's a true statement. Yeah, when you're challenged.
Yeah. Other people, I think absolutely. I would go so far as to say maybe that's the whole point of
any sort of relationship
is to challenge those things within you and reflect back to yourself. That's why we're drawn to certain people, You see that a lot with romantic relationships, especially when people will say they don't want to date this kind of person, but that they date the same person. We make the same mistakes over and over and over again, and it's like, what am I doing? It's you. It's you. Babe, it's you. And I'm saying that to my former self, babe, it's you. Lindsay, this is Lindsay from the future. It's you.
Very rude of you to call me out. So very clearly.
We all do it, You keep working out those lessons with yourself through people until you've got it.
My therapist, Austin, God love this man. He's phenomenal. I will never not sing his praises because he's just so, he'll say things so very clearly that I'm like, that hurt my feelings in exactly the right way. Thank you. Like I needed it. Apparently I needed you to say it this way for me. So like,
thank you.
A number of times I'd be like, help. Also, thank you. So I told him, I said, yeah, I was telling my friend Lindsay that like I date weak people, and he just like very clearly was like, actually, you don't date weak people. You date people that need caretaking because that's where you feel like your value is. And I was like, well, fuck you, first of all. Second of all, yeah, how do I stop doing that? I was like, oh, okay, so it's like they need caretaking. Cool. And he was like, so like, but we're not doing that anymore. I was like, yeah. No.
Because you're worthy of love aside from caretaking.
I deserve to be caretaked too.
You do.
Like I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm worth more than how I can help improve you as a human being.
Yes.
The
The care giveth and the care taketh. You can have both.
You can have both.
You can have both. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Relationship with our therapist. That's why they're so handy.
I just
you have that other person mirror the things that you can't see back to you. Like, hey, did you know you're doing this?
Like, I mean, yeah, sort of. I think. Ow. Also, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So beware of spiritual bypassing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a killer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all love and light. It's not supposed to be all love and light.
It's not.
Sometimes it's sunshine and roses, and sometimes it's shitty weather and bad feelings, and that's okay.
I'd like to leave with this. In the conversation with my dentist, which was hysterical, but one of the things that we were talking about was that pushing those shadow parts away, the bad stuff away. And I said, you know, when I travel somewhere that I find really beautiful, I'm every single time I have a moment when I'm there looking at the scenery or whatever it is that I'm taking in, right? That moment of awe. And there's always a thought that comes up, the people that live here and see this every day, do they have that same sense of awe that I'm having in this moment? Or have they lost that? Right? Mm-hmm. Do you see the beauty that you're surrounded by every day? Or because you're surrounded by it every day, you don't see it anymore?
Yeah.
And so you need the dark to have the light. Yeah. If it were just love and light, it's going to feel very vanilla, which I love vanilla ice cream, but it's going to feel very, very plain and very mundane, and it's not going, you're going to lose the beauty in the beautiful moments. And so you need the dark to contrast
you do
the light.
But the good thing is, if you have the awareness to appreciate both, you can appreciate both wherever you are.
That's a true statement.
Yeah. You can sit in the dark wherever you are. You can also appreciate the light wherever you are.
I love that. You're amazing.
You're amazing. Good combo.
Yeah. Love you. All right.
All right. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Look at this little nugget right here. With her little...
Oh, stretch the beans. Stretch the little toe beans.
Oliver was sitting here for a minute. It's like, okay, we did it.
Where'd he go?
I don't see him. Hey, baby.
Oh, he's on the chair.
Hello. This is what happens in the bed now. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, you know, when your mama comes home, you're going to have to sleep with hers. You don't get to sleep with me.
Why are you over here all by your lonesome? Hey, Monster Girl.
He said it was so crowded.